Welcome back, students. Let's start off with endorsement. We'll start off with the same example A and B, where A buys items on credit from B. So A is the debtor and B is the creditor. So in this case, let's also assume that B has a bill of exchange. He has prepared a bill of exchange for their transaction. So B is the holder of this negotiable instrument, but he in turn signs this instrument and transfers this to C. So this act of a person who is the creditor or who is the holder of a negotiable instrument of signing his or her name in the back of the instrument and transferring it to some other person, or that is transferring the title or ownership to someone else, this is called endorsement. So one key feature of negotiable instruments is that it can be endorsed or that it can be transferred. So who are the parties? We have the endorser and the endorsee. The person making the endorsement is the endorser, and the person to whom the instrument is endorsed, or the person who will have the title to receive payment, will become the endorsee. Okay, so there's a formal definition given in section 15 of the Negotiable Instruments Act. So it says, when the maker or holder of a negotiable instrument signs the same, otherwise than as such maker, for the purpose of negotiation on the back or face thereof. So the signature is made mostly behind the instrument or on the face of the instrument, or on a slip of paper annexed thereto. So if there are too many endorsements that happen with a particular check, for example, and if there is no space, then you can always do it on a separate sheet of paper and attach it along with the instrument. Okay. Also, signs for the same purpose as stamped paper intended to be completed as negotiable instrument. He is said to endorse the same and is called the endorser. So this is a complicated definition. Try to see if you can learn it, but there is a simple definition also given. You can at least go through that and memorize that. Okay. Now, what is a valid endorsement? What are the things that you must know related to endorsement? So the first thing is, endorsement has to be on the instrument. I mean, it has to be on the instrument or at the max a sheet of paper that is affixed to it. Okay, separate paper that is attached to it. It could be, where is the signing done? Behind or on front of the instrument. Okay, so that is the first feature. It has to be an instrument, a negotiable instrument, and signing has to be either on the back side or front. And in case there is no space, you attach a separate sheet of paper with the endorsement details. Okay, the next point is, generally when you do an endorsement, like you have a check of 10 lakhs with you and you want to hand it over to some of your creditors, you do an endorsement for the entire bill. So if you have to pay 10,000, you completely give it off to the creditor. But if you have to pay only 5 lakhs, you don't give off the endorsement, the negotiable instrument, to the creditor, stating that you only take 5 lakhs from here. So that makes it very complicated. Generally, part endorsements are not legally recognized. Okay, the third point, the endorsement has to be made by the maker or holder of instrument. So in our example where we spoke about A, B and C, so it is quite possible that the person who prepares the instrument can endorse, or the person who currently holds. So in case B has already given the bill of exchange to C, so C can further endorse because he is currently the holder of the instrument. Okay, strangers who are not part of it, or some thief who has just got hold of some check or something, he cannot endorse. That is not legally valid. Okay, the fourth point is, endorsement is made by merely signing the endorser's name on the instrument. So name and signature both are given, and sometimes a few lines regarding endorsement is also specified. Okay. Next, for people who cannot read and write, a thumb impression is allowed. So left hand thumb impression is allowed, but this has to be attested. Okay. So next is for married women. Generally, her husband's name is also given in the instrument. So name of the woman, her husband, and her signature. And in case the bill was drawn in favor of the woman before marriage, and then she wants to endorse after she has got married, then she has to give both her original maiden name and also the name, present name after marriage. Okay. And strictly words like Shri, Bapu, and whatever honorable words are used here locally, those things should not be included in the formal instrument. And finally, what is important is, if you just endorse and keep the instrument with you, it means nothing to anyone. So you have to ensure that the instrument is delivered to the concerned endorsee. So the endorser himself has to deliver, or somebody on his behalf has to deliver, because this is after all a property. It is an asset that has to be delivered properly to the endorsee. Okay. So these are some points for valid endorsement. Okay. Now this is an important topic which is called the types of endorsement. So we'll learn this through various examples. Okay. So what are the different types of endorsements? The first one is blank or general endorsement. So in this, the endorser just signs his name and it becomes payable. So the endorser will just sign at the bottom or at the back of the instrument, and it becomes transferable. Okay, there is no security or no specific instruction in this case. The next category is called endorsement in full. So here the endorser puts his signature and writes the name of person formally to whom the payment has to be made. So you can look at the slide for how this can be written. So pay to ABC, and below that you have the signature XYZ. So XYZ is the endorser, ABC is the endorsee. Okay. Then you have something called a conditional endorsement. So before signing, as I told you, you can give instruction or you can specify what has to be, how it has to be endorsed. You can say pay to ABC or order on her marriage. So you can specify certain conditions. So this becomes a conditional endorsement. So if the event doesn't happen, then the endorsement doesn't hold valid. Okay. Then there is something called restrictive endorsement. So this restricts further negotiation of the instrument. Like the account pay checks that we spoke about, here also there is a restriction. So what you will say in the instruction given, you will say pay to ABC only. So that is one example. So like account pay only, here also you are specifying this instrument, the payment of this instrument can be made only to ABC, nobody else, and you put your signature below. So you can see how it is done. Then you have one kind of endorsement which is called endorsement sans recourse. So an endorser may by words express that he wants to do away with all his own liabilities. So he will give the check, or he will make give the negotiable instrument, and he will very clearly write pay to ABC sans recourse, or he will say at his own risk. So if there is something that goes wrong subsequently, then the endorser will not be held responsible. So that is sans recourse endorsement. Then you have called something called a facultative endorsement. So in this endorsement, the endorser waives off the duty of the endorsee. In this case, in the sense, what kind of duty will the endorsee have? I'm the endorser, what kind of duty will the endorsee have? So, in case you are issuing a check and it bounces, the endorsee is duty bound to inform the endorser. Endorser is the giver of the check, no? He is the person who is transferring. So, the other person who is supposed to receive money, if he doesn't get, he is not duty bound to inform the endorser. So, he is supposed to find it himself, and he has to follow and ensure the payment is made. So, specifically where this is used, I'll try to find out and let you know. But how this is written is pay to ABC or order, or any person that your creditor recommends. But notice of dishonor waived. So he is not duty bound to inform the endorser. So that is what we are doing. There is, of course, this category, the next category, which is called partial endorsement. As you know, this is legally ineffective. This doesn't work as such. But in the types of endorsement, this is covered. So I've just given it as a note here. Done? Okay, students. With this, we have covered most of the topics on endorsement. We will move on to the next topic, on Tuesday.